The 6 A's of change. The first is awareness. Be aware that there's a need for change. The second is assessment. Now this is a two-part piece. So you want to assess the origin of why there's a need for change, or where that behavior comes from. But at the same time, you don't want to dwell on that. You don't want to give excuse to where that comes from. You just want to understand that this is where it comes from. This is where that behavior comes from. The second piece of assessment is to assess your why. Now that you know that there's something that needs to change, you know where it may come from, now you want to assess, okay, why do I need the change to happen, or why do I want to make this change happen? And your why is your biggest it's your biggest motivator, because it naturally pushes you towards taking the necessary steps towards making a change. So you want to always hold your why very close, forefront. If you can make it tangible for yourself, write it down. That's pretty much going to be your key influencer for change. The third is I'm going to take this from Tyrone because he says this all the time, but accountability, that is the third A. Accountability. When I'm with my workout buddies, we call ourselves accountability buddies. And that's because we hold each other accountable. We say, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym this many times, or I'm going to work out this many times, or, you know, I'm going to, you know, eat better, whatever. You pick someone to hold you accountable. Your friends and family cannot hold you accountable if they don't know what to hold you accountable for. And you're more likely to do things if you tell someone that you're going to do it. So share it with somebody you care, share it with someone supportive. Sharing it with someone supportive is key, because you don't want to share it with anybody that's going to bring negative energy towards it. If you want to post it on Facebook, social media, do what you got to do, but hold yourself and have other people hold you accountable to whatever your goal is that you want to make. I always remember there's a part in, and maybe Ty can share a little bit, I read this in his book, The Light Within Us All, where he initially told people that he was going to write this book. And so eventually everyone that he ran into would always ask him, how's that book coming along? How's the book coming along? And at that moment he felt, you know, I got to keep my word, you know, that's all I really got. And so accountability is key. So that's the third A for change. The next A for change is activation. And this is where you start to activate necessary tasks or changes in your life to make your ultimate goal or habit. For example, if you say that you want to be a little bit more organized in the mornings, what you'll do is, you know, you may go to sleep earlier at night, make sure you get a good night's rest. You may lay out your clothes the night before. You may, you know, pack your lunch, your meals and snacks for the day before you go to bed, so you're not rushing in the morning and you're a bit more clear-headed and, you know, not frantically rushing out of the house, and you're just more organized. So you start to implement those small tasks. You start to activate those tasks in your life. It's pretty much you're taking action. It's sort of, this stage is sort of, to me, is like homework in a sense. And so from a therapeutic standpoint, we would look at this as cognitive behavioral therapy, where you would actually get homework to do and then come back and report to your therapist and say, you know, I've been working on these goals, I've been working on this. And so this is the key step where you're actually implementing and activating certain tasks towards change. The next step is to analyze. Now, when you analyze, maybe Ty can touch upon analytics here, but from a business standpoint, I don't know any entrepreneur. I've never met an entrepreneur who does not, or a business owner who does not look at their analytics. You look at your analytics on social media. How many people are you engaging? How many posts are getting likes? What are your followers kind of taking on to with regards to your posts? You literally analyze your outcome measures. This is sort of the number piece here, where you assess your activation steps and see, okay, so I've started to pack my lunch the night before. I've started to lay out my clothes the night before, but that's not it. I'm still a little bit unorganized in the mornings. So what else is missing? Maybe you're not going to sleep early like you said you were going to do. Maybe there's a certain contributor there that's still not allowing you to be 100% at the goal that it is that you want. So this is where you reassess everything, you analyze your activation steps, and you may have to implement new action steps. And that's totally okay. I think a lot of people, when it comes to change, there's a negative connotation towards change. I mean, people say, oh, you've changed. That's kind of taken as a negative thing. A lot of people like to harp on, no, I've never changed, I'm still the same person, I'm never going to change. And quite frankly, if you're still the same person and you've really never changed, that's a problem. You're probably you probably need to change more than anybody else. If you're sitting here and you're kind of banking on the fact that you haven't changed, that means that you're not progressing, you're not developing, you're not growing. And so with change, there are big steps that need to take towards it, but don't think of it as a negative thing, because I've always said this, and I've always thought of this quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. I don't even know who quoted it, but or who said it. But change is the only thing in this world that's constant. It's one of the only things in life that's constant. And so if you're not evolving, if you're not changing, if you're not growing, if you're not progressing, if you're not developing, that's an issue. The next A of change, the 6 A's of change, is to attain. And so at this stage here, you're actually you're attaining your goal. You've attained whatever it is that you set out to do. You made yourself aware of the need for change. You've assessed the origin of it. You've remembered and assessed your why, which has pushed you towards being held accountable, finding accountability buddies to push you towards your goal. You've set out and activated certain steps and implemented steps towards that change. And then you've analyzed those activation steps. And now you are at a point where you've attained your goal. And so when you attain your goal, you've pretty much, you don't need to go back and analyze. And sometimes people go through the activation and analyze and attain steps. In my experience, I feel that might be like a spiraling or a revolving door, if you will. Sometimes you may have to keep going backwards and keep going backwards in order for you to actually attain the goal. But it shouldn't be something that lingers on. I think what inspired me to kind of write this is that a lot of people talk about they're changing and they want to make a change, but you always hear people say, and I'm guilty of it myself, oh, I'm working on it. Well, how long are you going to work on it for? So I think that implementing all of these steps and writing it out in the way that I did kind of gave me a little bit more clear vision towards not only just my goals, but just setting goals in general. It's 2017 now, so everyone's talking about the changes that they want to make, the changes they want to implement, and so there's always this assumption that comes along with New Year's resolutions that you won't keep them by the end of the year anyway, so why make them? And you're only not keeping them by the end of the year because you're telling yourself that you're not going to keep them by the end of the year. So you're not being aware of what needs to change. You're not taking any of the necessary steps towards the actual change to actually get to the assessing of it, or activating, implementing actual steps towards your goal to even attain them. And I think that that's pretty much the culture of change. And so in thinking of the trans theoretical model and the stages of change model that I've studied in both my wellness field and mental health field, the last stage in that model is maintenance. And so maintenance to me didn't fit. I felt that people are always going to be trying to maintain a goal, if you will, and I think that gives us the assumption that we will never attain a goal. And so I set out for 2017 to attain my goals, not just attempt to maintain them, which is why I wrote this piece that was featured on Lifehack today. Sugar, believe it or not, tends to have withdrawal symptoms. And so what I recommend clients do is to maybe start drinking a little bit more green tea. That'll help boost your metabolism, and start to implement other healthier options into your daily routine. So where you would go and eat a bag of candy, instead try for maybe like a Kind bar with a little hint of dark chocolate in it. That way you still get a little bit of your sweet fix, but Ty's shaking his head over here. You still get your sweet fix, but you still get a little bit of that sweet fix, but you're also detoxing from actual refined sugars. What I would say is to not restrict anything else in other ways. So what you're really naturally trying to do is get rid of simple carbs, and that's like unhealthy sugar that your body pretty much can't break down. So that would be my recommendation, is to not go cold turkey. You can email me at findyourwill, that's FINDYOURWILL @gmail.com. You can visit my website at www.findyourwillwellness.com. You can follow me on Instagram at findyourwillwellness. I like to post a lot of motivational, inspirational things related to holistic wellness, fitness, nutrition, mindfulness, mental health, just inspiration in general. My goal is to inspire.